Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm just going to speak about something that really annoyed me about the Olympics. And anyone that follows my Instagram will know this story. That the story of course, which is Steven Van de Velde. And if we take a look at it, a lot of you that know the story will know and hate him as well for the same reasons that I do. But how I came across this originally was I remember I was scrolling down through X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, and I came across the story, and the story was very vague when I was looking at it. It was rapists going to France to compete at the Olympics. So I clicked into this. There wasn't much information, just about this guy Stephen, who had raped this girl in 2014, and there wasn't much there in on it. So I did a little digging around and I found my story, which explains it perfectly to me. So basically, there was this. Stephen at the time was 18. This girl was from Milton Keynes in the UK. Stephen's from the Netherlands. And he started texting her on Facebook. So, long story short, 2 years later, they had decided to meet up. Now, prior to this, she was pretending to Stephen that she was 16 years old. Stephen at the time was 18 years old. But right before they were to meet, she told him his age, her age. She told him her age, that she was actually just after turning 12 years of age. So Stephen in the Netherlands, who was hundreds of miles away, said, "Don't worry about it. We'll get over that. No biggie, no big deal." Which was very strange to me that he was still okay with doing what he'd done to a 12-year-old. He was 19 at this stage. So he was 19, she was 12. They decided to meet up. He knew her real age at this stage. He still bought a flight at that stage, knowing her real age, got a taxi, flew to the UK, met up with her. From what I can gather from the news reports, was that he tried to book a hotel, couldn't get a hotel, and eventually went under some staircase of some building and basically raped her 3 times that night. He woke up the following morning and told her that she was going to need to go to a chemist to buy the morning after pill. We all know why. And it is then that she went into the chemist, looked for the morning after pill. They immediately knew by looking at her that she was not of consenting age, that she was in fact a child. At that case, they alerted her family, and then Stephen Van de Velde was arrested. That was in 2014. Fast forward 2 years, 2016, Stephen went to court, admitted to it, that he raped her 3 times, and he was sentenced to 4 years in prison. He served 12 months of his time in the UK before he was extradited back to the Netherlands, where he spent 1 month in prison before he was taken out of jail. And the reason for that is they don't see what he done as rape. What they call it in the Netherlands, what they call basically child rape in the Netherlands in this nature, they call it violating social ethics norms. Violating social ethical norms. So they didn't see what child rape, they just kind of brushed it on the table and say, it's not that bad. I think at that stage, Netherlands really need to look into their fucking what they think the difference between rape and social ethical norms, because they're not the same thing. So after that, Stephen went straight into Olympics and soon qualified for the Paris Olympics, the dirty fucking paedophile. And that's when I started making my reels. Now, before this, I couldn't find any news reports. And between all the reels I made 5 or 6 different reels. I had over 5 million views on my reels. Now, at the time, my Instagram has 400,000 followers. So I took it upon myself to make sure everyone knew that this scumbag was going out to France to compete in the Olympics. So I accumulated over 5 million views on my reels. I think now, because of me, I think a lot of our newspapers picked up on this, and then everyone knew about it, which I was so happy about. Then we'd set up this petition that people had to sign. There was over 200,000 signatures on this to get Stephen banned from the Olympics, and he was not banned. And I think when we saw the opening ceremony of the Olympics, it kind of showed that the Olympics wouldn't see this as an issue, having someone like him there, because in the opening of the Olympics, we saw a man with his testicles hanging out in front of a child. Let's be honest about it. And even the weren't hanging out. Why is a man dressing like that in front of a child? I just found the whole opening ceremony very fucking weird. So and like the thing about it, my problem is, it's such a privilege to represent your country in the Olympics. And even for me, it's such a privilege for me to represent Ireland at World's Strongest Man. And World's Strongest Man is, now it is watched by many around the world, but not as many as the Olympics is. The Olympics is watched by millions and millions and millions of people. And just he got the privilege to be there representing Netherlands just sickened me that he gets to do this for his country. He should be inside in jail, not representing his country. And then I feel like the Olympics tried to get a couple of people on board with this. First, there was Paula Radcliffe, who in a news report interview was backing him, that he'd served his time and that people should leave him alone, and she wished him the very best of luck. She got a lot of hate in that. I did a reel myself in it, and I think that reel accumulated over 500,000 views because she was in support of a paedophile, which is very weird because she has kids herself.
Dutch volleyball player Steven van der Velde, who was jailed for raping a 12-year-old British girl.
To ban someone for, and as I understand it, he was 19 at the time, and he served his jail time. And
no, he didn't.
It's
he served
a
12
long time
months.
to carry on paying for that mistake
No,
for
it's
the
not.
rest of your life. And he may well have turned it around and completely repented. And he's certainly over that. I know that he's married now and settled down. So I think it's a tough thing to do to punish him twice. And if he's
No, it's
managed
not.
to
His dick should be cut
successfully
off.
turn his life around, and after being sent to prison and to qualify and to be playing sport at the highest level, then I actually wish him the best of luck.
And then we had Emma Wolf, who is a news anchor for GB News. And let's be honest, GB News doesn't have the best of reporters anyway. But some of the things she came out and said was fucking disturbing. And she has kids as well, that she felt it must be deeply uncomfortable for him to be there and have all this hanging over him. I mean, like, none of this would be hanging over him if he didn't rape a child. She said that it wasn't rape, and that, you know, how 12-year-olds sometimes act like they're 16 and they're sassy and they bring it on themselves. I mean, what a thing to say, do you know? And for a finish, she just called it was nothing more than a holiday romance. I mean,
has an actual conviction for child rape. I'm not going to use the term that you use because I think that's a bit strong. Child
Well,
rape
it is rape.
But one thing's for sure, this must be a deeply uncomfortable experience for him. He's away
Not as
from the other
uncomfortable for a
athletes
girl
he's
that's been raped.
Because I know 12-year-olds who are sassy and act like they're 16-year-old girls. He did know her
Blame
age.
her.
I'm
It's her
50-50
fault.
on this. I assumed that he'd done it as a grown adult, as a grown man, and he'd groomed her.
He was a grown adult.
I don't think that's quite the case.
It is the case.
Nearly 20.
Yeah,
Also,
it was wrong.
When she went to get the morning after pill the next day, they said straight to her, how old are you? They could see instantly she was a child.
Yeah, but 10 years ago they did say that to you when you went to get the morning after pill. I don't know, if I was judged for everything I did between the age of 12 and 19, I'd probably be in prison or something.
What the
The
fuck
way it was
did he
portrayed
do?
to me was that he groomed her, flew over to Milton Keynes and raped her, whereas actually it
That's
sounds more
exactly
like
what he
an
did.
inappropriate, very inappropriate holiday romance thing.
how can you call the grooming and the raping of a child a holiday romance? It is beyond me that she was allowed to say this on air. She, again, was one of these people that later come out and apologised because they apologised for showing their true feelings. That's all they're really apologising for. And he got to compete anyway, and they failed, thankfully. It'd be worse if he managed to get a medal, but he didn't, thank God. And I'm sure he went back home and they had a massive pedo party for him. So then after that, we had him come out and say the dust had settled. I suppose he wasn't been in newspapers and he was feeling a little bit left out, that people weren't talking about him. He's such a weird cunt. And he came out and he said in this interview, and he was crying, that people were booing him at the Olympics, and that he was upset that people were coming after his family and upsetting his family. I mean, can you imagine being this girl and her family, and you're sitting at home and you're watching the Olympics on TV, and then you see the guy that raped you when you were 12 years of age. Now, bear in mind, it happened 10 years ago, so she's 21, 22 now, and she's watching TV with her family, and then this guy comes on the TV screen. How uncomfortable that is for her, how uncomfortable it is for her family. It was just disgusting for me to see something like that. And between that, after that, I decided I wasn't going to watch the Olympics. So what I did instead was anyone that I was interested in, like I was interested in a couple of different things throughout the Olympics, primarily the Olympic weightlifting. I'd be a big fan of Lasha. I was a fan of the running. I'm a big fan of Simone Biles, Sha'Carri Richardson as well, another girl that I'd be a fan of who was actually thrown out of the Olympics 4 years ago for smoking a bit of weed. And it's just strange for me when the rules for the Olympics are so fucking strange when you have Sha'Carri Richardson who is getting banned for smoking a little bit of weed, and you have Steven Vanderveld who was protected, who got his own little house away from everyone else, and he was allowed to compete. So for that reason alone, I did not watch the Olympics. So I don't know, guys, what do you think about the whole situation? Let me know in the comments, and I would like to thank all my new subscribers, and thanks to everyone who comments, likes, shares and subscribes. So thank you all. I will see you later.